Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It has been more or less 10 days since my last upload. It's because nagkaroon po kami lahat ng flu. We're all flu A positive and thank God we are all alive and well now. And hopefully you guys are all safe and healthy out there as well. For this video, I'm going to share about my top 5 adjustments that I experienced during my first year here in the United States. And sana may matutunan kayo kahit konti. This is just basic sharing of mga naranasan ko. And hopefully makatulong po ito kahit sa simpleng paraan. So for those new here, welcome po. My name is Alma. I'm a wife, I'm a mommy, and I'm a US RN. And welcome to my channel called Ang Buhay RN. Siguro yung pinamabigat na mga months of my adjustment period was the first 3 to 6 months. Especially na kami lang talaga dito sa state kung saan kami napunta. Wala kaming friends, wala kaming family. Kung meron man, nasa ibang states. So we almost had to figure out everything on our own. But we took it as a learning experience na nung kami lang yung gumalaw, mas naintindihan namin how things work. So let's talk about first the work. Well, work is actually already a big adjustment kasi bagong facility, bagong place, bagong coworkers, bago lahat. Pero yung pinakamalaking kailangan kong nanibago ako was that I was the only Filipino in the area. And not just that, I was the first immigrant nurse to be hired on that facility. So medyo, This was such a big adjustment for me kasi nung pinanggalingan kong hospital sa Middle East, ang dami naming Filipinos. As in, sometimes in one shift, pito kami yung bedside, plus isang charge nurse, plus isang nurse assistant, or yung practical nurse. Lahat kami Pinoy, as in Philippine team. So, medyo naging comfortable ako sa ganong klaseng environment. Hindi ko rin maiwasan na mainggit to see yung mga ibang kakilalang nurses who come here under other agencies or under direct hires na merong transition program or they come by batches. So, marami silang Filipinos and I see, ang dami nilang Pinoy. Medyo may konting inggit. Konti lang naman. Being the only Filipino at the time sa area ko, I felt more homesick, kumbaga. And then, given that English is also not my first language, I also had to learn how to communicate with my coworkers. But, on the positive side of things, I just took this to my advantage to focus on my work. Kasi wala akong ibang katsikan masyado. So, I just tried to learn as much as I can and hopefully I would do well. And I also never experienced any kind of disrespect naman from any of my coworkers. And even my preceptor was very, very thorough and patient with me. And she is 70 plus years old. And she's still a bedside nurse. Napaka-meticulosa niyan. I'm very, very thankful for that. After a year of working in that facility, meron nang dumating na 2 Filipino nurse who are also immigrant nurses. And one of them works with me during night shifts and I was one of his preceptors din. Very, very happy and thankful and honored to be chosen to teach. And at the same time, kahit papaano, meron na akong katsikahan. Medyo masaya na yung, mas masaya. Masaya naman yung shift, mas masaya lang ngayon. Kasi kahit papaano, you have somebody you can relate to. The second adjustment that I had experienced was about driving. I mentioned this on my previous videos or vlogs na hindi talaga ako sanay pagmaneho bago pumunta dito sa Amerika. Nung nasa Pilipinas, may driver kami. If wala yung driver, yung dad ko yung nagda-drive. And then, when I went to the Middle East, napaka-convenient ng public transportation like bus and taxis. So, hindi rin ako naigaan yung bumili ng sasakyan at matutong magmaneho. But, when I got my priority date, I made sure that I would enroll myself in a driving school and matuto na talagang mag-drive kasi driving is really a necessity here in the United States. Hindi lang siya luxury, it's really a necessity. It's how you get around. So for those like me na hindi sanay mag-drive, the only key to be comfortable behind the wheel is to do it often. Talagang sanayin siya. So for those asking if kailangan nyo ba ng international driver's license or any types of driver's license before coming here to the US, The answer is, it really depends on the state. You just have to search it on the internet. May mga website naman for states it's either the DMV or the DPS, and then see what are the requirements or how long you can actually use your international or your other driver's license dun sa specific state na pupuntahan nyo. So sa amin, we are here in Oklahoma. Parehas kami ng asawa kong may international driver's license saka local driver's license. Sa akin sa Middle East, sa UAE, sa kanya sa Pilipinas. When we both went to DPS and asked how long we can use it, wala sila sa amin masabing specific time frame. So what we did is just applied for the state driver's license as soon as possible. So number 3, dun sa nagulat ako that I had to adjust here in America was about self-service. For example, kasi nasanay ako sa Pinas and even sa Middle East, sa gas station may mga gas boy. May mga naglilinis mga ng mga salamin, di ba? Dito wala. Ikaw lahat. Ikaw ang mamili ng gas mo, ikaw ang magkakarga ng gas mo sa sasakyan mo, and yung mga gas station naman may sariling check out how you pay. It's either cash or card. Ikaw lahat. Then another one, for example, is yung sa fast food. Sa fast food dito, kain mo, linis mo. Sa Pilipinas kasi sa Middle East, may naglilinis dito wala. Ikaw talaga. And then another place is sa groceries. Sa groceries, uso yung self-checkout lane. Mas mabilis kasi. So sa self-checkout lane, ikaw ang mag-scan, ikaw ang magbabag, ikaw ang magbabayad. May mga surveillance cameras for security purposes, of course. And meron din mga personnel na isa o dalawa lang around to assist, for example, kung nagkaroon ka ng double error sa scanning, so they can actually correct that. And may mga items that ask actually for your ID, for example, cough syrup sa lighters. Nagpa-prompt siya na kailangan ng ID, they would come and assist you with that. Pero for most of the part, it's just you. May mga lanes naman na may sariling cashier, but from what I observe, mostly nang gumagamit nun are senior citizens. So, medyo nahiya naman ako na makipila doon. But, it actually encourages independence when it comes to these self-services. It's actually okay. I actually started to enjoy it as well. Number 4 is about enrolling my kids in school. So, nabanggit ko dun sa previous live vlog ko that both of my kids are actually on the autism spectrum. So, both of them are on the special needs class. So, the very first thing that I did as soon as we were settled on our apartment, we had our social security numbers, and we had our green card, was to find our school district enrollment center. And then when we went there, we were asked for the requirements, which were, and I think this would vary from state to state, but there will be similarities, so I suggest you also bring them. Number 1 is a birth certificate. Birth certificate, hindi man lang kinailangan na may red ribbon and all. It just has to be clear. Clear yung name ng child nyo and name ng both parents. Number 2 is a copy of a parent's government-issued ID. So it's either your driver's license or your green card is enough. Number 3 is any school credentials or transcripts before. I am not sure how they would screen it kasi wala naman both yung kids ko at that time of enrollment, but you would base your kids' enrollment sa grade level on the school transcripts, and if walang school transcripts, then it's based on their age. This requirement is your kids' vaccination records. As far as I know, during your medical for the US visa, meron sa inyo i-provide na paper kung nasaan yung vaccines ng mga kids sa inyo. And I bought that, including any vaccine records that you have from the Philippines or from the Middle East o kung saan man kayo galing, bring it with you. Pero dito sa amin, we were required that it should be under a pediatrician on the area. So what we did is, as soon na na-approve kami with our insurance, I found out in network providers na primary care pediatrician. We went there, and then they asked for the previous vaccination records, and then they inputted it on their system. Tapos sila na bahalang mag-print kasi alam naman nila kung ano yung hinihingi ng school. Next, if your kid has any diagnosis like my daughter at that time ng enrollment, I provided them all the medical records available that she has. which specifically, yung may diagnosis siya from her neurodevelopmental pediatrician. Binigay ko yun during the enrollment process. They determined na meron siyang diagnosis, and then I was informed that we would be contacted by the school clinical psychologist for an assessment if my daughter qualifies for the special needs class. And then after the assessment, she also had a separate assessment for a speech language therapist. And then after the school clinical psychologist and the speech language therapist assessment, you expect that you will have a meeting with the school board, which is the principal and her advisor and her speech therapist. As in, malaking meeting yun, and you will formalize an IEP, which is your individualized education plan for your child. Okay, one of the services provided for special needs is a special needs transportation, which sa case ng daughter ko, yung special needs school bus niya drops her off and picks her up in front of our apartment, and that is all for free. Number 5 is about the expenses. Not just about the taxes and the insurance, pero included yun kasi learning about the federal tax, state tax, filing of your tax return, and different kinds of insurance plans. Aaralin nyo yun, and you try to understand about it better as you stay here in the United States. Ako nga, hindi pa ako masyadong technical when it comes to those topics, sa taxes at sa insurance. So I suggest you watch other videos and other resources. But if I get to know about it better, I would plan on doing another separate video about it. Another thing also about expenses is understanding about building credit score, a good credit score. Kasi hindi talaga ako sanay nang nangungutang. But once you understand how to manage your finances, even with credit, and keeping up to date with your payments, then you will do very well here in the United States. And that's it for this video. I hope that meron pa rin po kayo natutunan kahit konti lang, because I know what I shared was very basic. I just really wanted to keep it simple and brief, basing on the personal experiences that I had during my first 3 to 6 months here in the US. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, everybody keep safe and keep healthy. God bless po.